Did you know that Henry Ford was not the first person to invent the automobile? No. The first automobile was invented by a German engineer named Carl Benz in 1886. But what Ford did was more important than inventing the car. He made the car affordable for the masses. Henry Ford was born on July 16, 1863, on a farm in Michigan. His father was a wealthy landowner and his mother was a former teacher. So young Henry had access to a good education. And from the time he was 12 years old, he knew he wanted to be an engineer. After graduating from college, he got a job at a local farm equipment company. By age 20, he was the chief engineer. But Ford's real passion was cars. So in 1891, he left the farm equipment company to work for a car manufacturer in Detroit. Within 2 years, he became the general manager. But he was not satisfied with his job. He wanted to build his own car company. In 1896, Ford founded the Ford Motor Company with two friends. They pooled their money together and bought a large abandoned factory in Detroit. There they built a prototype for a car that would become the first quadricycle. It was an instant success. The wealthy elite who had been buying Ford's quadricycles started placing huge orders for the new car. For a while, business was good. But Ford was not interested in making a luxury car for the rich. He wanted to make a car for the middle class, a car that the average person could afford. To do that, he needed to lower the price. In 1908, he introduced the Model T, a car that sold for just $850. It was a huge hit. People from all over the country flocked to the Ford Motor Company to buy one. Soon, though, other manufacturers started copying Ford's design. In fact, by 1925, there were more than 30 million automobiles on the road, most of them manufactured by Ford. But Ford wasn't done yet. He wanted to make cars even cheaper, easier to manufacture, and more accessible to the average person. So he set about designing a new car, one that would sell for just $250. He called it the Model A. When the Great Depression hit in 1929, people stopped buying new cars. But Ford's Model A was so cheap that people continued buying it. In fact, by 1933, more than half of all the cars on the road were Fords. At the time, that made Henry Ford the wealthiest man in the world. Henry Ford changed the world by making the automobile affordable for the masses. He also changed the way we work with the introduction of the $5 workday and the first modern assembly line. Before Ford, workers were paid by the piece. That meant that if you worked faster, you earned more money. But if you were slow, you didn't get paid much at all. Ford wanted to change that. He wanted to pay his workers a fair wage, no matter how fast they worked. He also wanted to make the cars cheaper by speeding up the assembly line. This way, more people could afford to buy them. Henry Ford was a genius, an innovator who changed the world forever. If you like stories like this, stay tuned for more. See you next time.